Morning, I'm Jon Thelen. Today I'm Fish Head. We're up on Lake of the Woods, and normally this is an early ice trip. This year it's a little bit different though. We've got a lot of ice and we got some snow on top of it now. It's gonna change things a little bit, but we should still be able to get them. Stay right where you're at. Fish Head's coming up. Moving. A couple of them just snuck in here. There he goes. Look at that. He took the bobber. He's just sitting there with it. Give him just a sec here. Boy, I saw that fish come in here, and you get two holes so close to each other like this, and you're jigging that one. But boy, if he turns his nose to that one and sees this one like this fish did, that's why we run that bobber on right there. It can make such a big difference. Because if they turn away, oh, look at that. Jumbo perch to start our day. That's a neat thing about Lake of the Woods. You get these things mixed in, and that's a great perch anywhere you go right there. Oh, we're on what I would like to call early ice, but it's really not early. This is one of those strange years that we haven't seen in a long, long time where we've got really, really early ice. So one of the things we've done now, because this ice is so thick already, we've got snow cover on top, is first thing I do is I change a bunch of my colors around. And I'll tell you why I do that. I need to go to colors that are putting me in a position where they can see it. And then I'm also using rattle style baits. And we'll talk more about that as we go. But that right there is a great way to start our day. I don't know. He don't feel like a giant, but you know what? He might not be that bad either. You know what? He's getting a little bit bigger. We'll see. Let's see what we got here. Oh, it's a decent little sauger. That decent little sauger, I think we'll let him go because we'll get some better fish throughout the day, I assume. But you know what? They're starting to go. We're starting to get them in here. You know, we got that perch to start. And now this fish is here. And one of the things that's so key on this, I don't want to call it first ice. It's not first ice. But one of the things that's so key on this early ice is understanding that what's going to happen here is these fish are all going to get themselves set up along shoreline stuff. And here's why they do this. What's happened is they're still in that fall pattern. And what that pattern was they followed all the minnows in here shallow. As soon as they were in there, they just rounded them up and they ate all fall. And that's that fall feeding binge that we hear about. The reason you get that is because the minnows are in there to spawn. When those minnows come in and spawn, they make their runs. The walleyes, the saugers, the perch, they all follow and eat. Now what's happened is we've slid out just a little bit. So because I've got some snowpack on the ice and I've got 12 inches of ice here now already, and I mean this happened literally in just a couple weeks. So we really kind of missed first ice this year. We went straight to kind of the beginning of the ice season with a lot of ice. What's happened is all I've done is slid out. I've kind of found a couple little turns out here in about 23 feet of water, and these fish are going to move through here periodically throughout the day. A lot of times you can bounce around and you can try to find them, but it might make sense a lot of times at this time of the year to understand they're still on the prowl, and if you just sit tight, a lot of times they'll show up for you. Let's get this line right back down there and see if we can't get another one. There it is, got him. Ooh, that's a good one right there. You go through these smaller fish and you can't get frustrated. You just got to stay with it because the better fish are coming. It's a better fish, but it's a pout. Let's get this guy unhooked. It looks like he got into the bobber rod. Let's see if this one's a walleye. Got a little pile of fish coming through. We got a pout sitting on the ice and a little sauger to go with him. I'll tell you what, that's fun fishing. This is a double and neither one of them are gonna go in the bucket, but it don't matter. That's fun fishing right there. Yeah, he's there. Got him. Yeah, another sauger. There's fish sliding through here pretty steadily. Let me show you what I use on my bobber rod, because it's a really, really simple setup. Today I'm just using a Thill bubblegum float. You know, when I'm in a house, I don't worry too much about it icing up because it's warm enough in here that I don't gotta worry about that. But I think this is the most important part of this bobber setup right here. And that is I'm using a little Frostee jig. This is a number 6, and I love this jig for bobber fishing. And I'll tell you why. When this fish comes in to look at that bait, what's happening is that fathead, he's running around and he's got just enough weight down there that he's got to struggle a little bit. And then that jig also gives off a little bit of flash, but I also love that gold hook. I'm not sure what it is, but there's days that makes a huge difference. 13-incher. Let me show you what I use on the jigging side of this game, because you know what, whether they're hitting what I'm using on the jigging side or not, it's what I'm using on this side that's actually bringing the fish in. So even if they're smacking that bobber rod during the day, you're not going to get many fish on that float rod if you're not using something that actually brings the fish in, and that's the jigging side of the game. This is a Rattli'n Flyer Spoon. This is a brand new emerald shiner color, and I think this one's really cool. But you know what? I'm switching colors throughout the day. I'm switching around. I'm trying to put myself in a position where the fish can hear something, and this thing's got rattles, and then also see something, so I'm constantly changing colors. There's a couple other favorites I have, because all said and done, I'm changing nonstop throughout the day. This is a 360 jig. When I use this one, it's really simple. That jig just spins every time I lift it, and it displaces water, and it gives off that sound of a fleeing minnow. There's another one too, and that's a Lindy darter. This is the one I'm going to use when I go a long time without seeing any fish, or when I've got that pail full and I'm really looking for that big one. All said and done, this lure makes a big, deep pitched rattle, and it swims out to the side, and it brings fish in from a long ways away. So make sure that even if it's a day where you're catching them on that bobber rod pretty consistently, that you keep working this jigging rod, because if you switched over to 2 bobber rods, what you're probably going to find out is the bite's going to slow down, because those fish are coming in to all that noise and action you're putting down here in this hole. And remember something else, when the bite really cranks up, you're going to catch the majority of your fish on that active rod that we're jigging with. There it is. Not bad though. Oh, look at that, he ain't bad at all. Think you wanted that thing? Look at that. It's great tonight. Wow, did he come racing up and just hammer that bobber? Holy smokes, he just flew up here. I'm gonna hit this one a little quicker just because of how fast he came up. I think he might be a little bit better fish. He just came roaring off the bottom. When they come up like that, usually a fish that's a little more aggressive like that is usually a little bit better fish. And oh yeah, that's exactly what we're looking for right there. Just a great eater walleye. And you know, he came flying in and looked at that Rattli'n Flyer Spoon. I mean, that's what he was here for. But then for some reason, when he turned, there's that bobber rod sitting there. And that's one of the neatest things about being able to fish 2 lines in the wintertime, is the ability that you have to fish a couple different presentations, because you might trigger a fish to come up and take a look on that aggressive presentation. But then I'll tell you what, you got that passive situation right there with that minnow swimming around on that Frostee, and walleyes like that one, when they come up, if they're not sure what they're going to hit, when they turn to leave, boy, it's hard to resist a minnow that's just sitting there flopping around and struggling a little bit. And that's exactly what this guy did. He came racing up, turned his nose, went over here, and just drilled that thing and took off. That's a great eye right there. We'll throw him in the bucket. What a great day out here on Lake of the Woods. I'll tell you what, we've got a whole smorgasbord of fish. We got a perch today, a jumbo perch. We got an eel pout, we got a bunch of saugers, and we got some walleyes. And all said and done, we're gonna be able to finish out the day with a nice little fish fry. If you get a chance, get out on the ice. I'll tell you what, this is gonna be a great winter for ice fishing. We've got great ice conditions across the Midwest, and the fish are biting. I'm Jon Thelen. We'll catch you next week on Fish Ed.